Hello everyone, Edain here, and welcome not to the Edain mod, but the Edain mod Unchained submod, which has been very enthusiastically requested on this channel for a good few years now, and I neglected the notion to do it purely because I was enjoying just playing Edain so much. But I think I've come to the point where Unchained is looking really good. I have had other things that I wanted to look at and do in the past that I've mostly just scrapped because I've just never had honestly the effort to put them in. But with the Unchained mod, I'm willing to make an exception, along with one other mod, which I'll be talking about a little bit later, which is also going to be content I'll be making for the next week or so. Because at the moment, I'm not actually going to be playing on the Unchained for a week or two. And because the Adine team... let me go back a bit. So I made that post with a poll, and a lot of people voted for Unchained, which is not a reason why I'm doing Unchained. I was thinking about doing this for a while now. It's just that I've now got a big enough incentive to do it. Because the Unchained team also commented on that post, saying, hey, just wait another week or two, we'll have a big major update coming out so that more factions will be easier to play against with AI, which, you know, is my whole deal. So yeah, Unchained is on the way, and this is mainly just talking about what Unchained is all about. It's basically the Edain mod, but with even more stuff added in, a few things changed around, tuned up, such and such, to, I'm not going to say make the game more balanced, but it does make the game more interesting when you've played Edain for as long as I have. So first you can see a lot of the character portraits are a bit divvied up. But some characters like Arafant has had a full rework of his abilities. His war strategy ability has been changed to not just affect basic troops, but affect a certain degree of troops. So basic infantry, archers, elites, and then heroic troops. And you get certain... tactics depending on his level. Obviously at level 1 he only gets the onslaught ability, which gives globally for swordsmen and spearmen just more speed. Then range and damage. Damage globally for elite infantry and cavalry. And then at the end he can boost all heroic infantry experience. Now it doesn't. Now I'm not sure exactly how this would work in a team game. But I'm assuming that because it doesn't... Okay, it does specify there Arnor. But then it just says all archers. But then, could it be that these globally affect your allies' troops as well if they're Arnor? Or could it also affect other factions' troops? But that's just a thing for another day. And then it's got a few other abilities that are slightly changed up. Gandalf's exactly the same because he doesn't need to be changed. Malbeth has had a few small changes which I think make him a lot more different to Denethor and Lothiriel. I've not seen either of them yet. I'm just mainly just looked at Arnor. And I'll be going into everything in more detail in the future. Once the next patch comes out and when I actually start playing some games, we'll see what that's all about. Today is just mainly just me talking about stuff. So we can... so we all know where we are. This is an update video, not a gameplay video, not a ranking video. Such and such. The Stoneworker has got a nice new thing. Marketplace got a small change to the taxes, making it also heroic troops cheaper. Although I'm not sure if they made them cheaper to begin with, the townhouses, so might be a small change. But then also another thing, because this is why I chose Arnor. You might have noticed, if anyone that's actually played Unchained, I'm playing on an Unchained map at the moment, but I'm not playing on a Arnor specific map. Because what the Unchained team have done is they have made it so Gondor, Arnor, and Belfalas aren't map-specific factions. They are now one full faction that you choose which sub-faction you're going to play as the game begins. Similar to what the Dwarves had. But instead of being like 3 different dwarf clans, we've got 3 different areas of the men of Numenor. Well, the ancient men of Numenor. And one thing you might have noticed is that some of these powers have a few different things on them. So, Gandalf the White and Bloodline of Numenor, there's basically 2 powers mixed together. so quite a few powers that have mixed things, but the main part of it is that the fact that they are you get one version of them. The rest of them are locked off depending on which one you choose. So for armies of men, if you're Gondor, you get the Rohirrim. Arnor, you get Eomer and his troops of Gondor. And Belfast, you get Aragorn and the fiefdoms of Gondor. Then you've got the support of the Dunedain, or detachment from the Shire. You get Halbarad, Sons of Elrond, Warriors of the Grey Company, or Band of Tuk, the Archers, Donkey Riders, and Firework Ballistae. And then Belfast gets the Faramir, Ithilien Rangers, and the Forbidden Pool. So all of the things you get from here are still the same. Some things swapped about, like with the assistance in times of need and weapons of Westerness, which actually got changed a bit. Instead of it being you select one unit, it now has a buff. You select a building, and all the units that are summoned from that unit, from that area, are buffed. And you can see there's a nice little Palantir animation as well. Now, when I first looked, I wish I kept the original video that I did for this, but I wasn't doing the other sub mod at the time, the other mod at the time, so I didn't fully anticipate this. But my shock at the downfall of Andor change is actually, I wish I could replicate it. But yeah, this is. Remember what this used to be? Just a miniature flood that had mainly deal damage to units. And now it's changed to enemy units take minor damage, leaves a pool of water for 30 seconds, which units move slower through, but also does devastating damage to buildings and walls. Just... Yep. I was speechless at that because, my god, that was beautiful. That was a beautiful animation, which killed everything, because, those are goblins. But if there were to be, like, heroic troops there, they're not going to die. And yes, it does have to be minor damage against units, because if that was an instant just kill effect, that's just BF Me 2 vanilla BS right there. Which yeah, we don't want that shining the sun on someone and killing them instantly. That is ridiculous. But yeah, obviously... this is for Arnor only, and then the other two factions have the Army of the Dead. Or, as it's called, An Oath Fulfilled. And I imagine there's a lot of other little changes here and there. I've also looked at Harad, that is a lot for one faction. I'm going to be going through several videos with them in the future. But before I do go fully into Unchained, as I said, the team, someone commented on the post saying, just give it a few more weeks. Once the patch is rolled out, then the mod's in the best position to be doing PvE gaming, which again is what I do. So I said sure, and I will be doing a different mod instead of Edain until Unchained is released. And then, oh yeah, this guy who I've just been slowly zooming in on as I was talking. The Elven Lord is a new thing that comes from the Rivendell enlarged border stronghold, which makes it slightly more enticing to build, I'll admit. But then the Linden Watchtower got, I think, a major buff. In that one, Círdan is pretty much exactly the same, except he's now got a hammer in his hand, which makes him look cool. But this unit here, not only is this a beautiful looking unit with those shields, I've always loved that design of shield. If I could buy one of those shields in real life, I would. I really would. I would not hesitate. Take my money. I want that shield. But, yeah, you no longer have the Guardians of Linden that you used to have, which, honestly, I think are a very poor hero unit. We've talked about that in the most recent ranking video. But this unit here gives you an elite spearman unit that, as Arnor, you do not actually get, because you get the Palace Guards instead. Another swordsman unit. So having an elite spearman just gives you an extra unit to run around with. And it's actually worth building this building just for these guys, I think. Because it can just reduce range damage by pretty much cutting them in half with that extra armor. They come with heavy armor. They cost only 600, which, yeah, you could think that's a lot. But then you remember, if I get rid of these blacksmiths here and replace them with townhouses, this is classed as an elite tier unit. Melee infantry elite. And we have townhouses that can reduce the cost of infantry by an amount. And I love Arnor. And I would normally always build townhouses with Arnor, just because I would spam out the basic troops. And then I just use Araphant with his Armories of Fornos ability and target one unit. Obviously they've changed it now where it's different, but we'll go into that again in a future game. But yeah, look at that, already down to 510. That's 90 cost reduction on just building 3 townhouses. And if you neglect this instead, you can also get the Elven Lord from discounts if you want a single entity fighter. But if you wanted to go for just a basic outpost, get 3 more townhouses, this is the unit you should get. Get these, and then Dunedain Rangers are worth getting because they're well protected with these guys around. Anyway, that's everything I want to talk about Unchained. We're going to now go on over to the next mod. And now we have the Wars of the Firstborn mod, which I was asked to do a quick bit of testing with the beta version. And after some extensive back and forth with technical issues, we managed to get it to work, thankfully. And I'm just going to show off a few features for the base version of this, because it does actually use both BFME 1 and BFME 2 features. But the way it's incorporated is different than Edain, where instead of it's part of the like what used to be called the command point factor, the ruling system in Edain, which allows you to switch between free build and not free build. I'm also going to be showing off Mirkwood, the unique faction for this mod at the moment. And yeah, I'm going to show you what's the most unique thing about this mod straight away. Is the at the beginning of the game, there's a vote. You don't have the complicated stuff you saw out all at once. You instead have a choice of BFME 1 and BFME 2 style straight away. Enabling or disabling ring heroes here, even though you can still also do it through somewhere else. But also disabling or enabling deathmatch, which gives you at the start of the game an extra like 100,000 resources if you want that extra amount. I'm just going to use that just so I can get all my points across with this. So you then say you're done voting, which you voted for everything here with whoever else you're playing with. Obviously in a AI situation, which I do, there'd only be me voting. But then we have, as you can see, a more generic BFME 2 style with 2 builders and a fortress. Not what I normally do in Edain, obviously. But then we have the fortress itself, which, like in BFME 2 vanilla style, we have those fortress upgrades. And a small roster of heroes, but still very good heroes from what I've tested with them in the few moments I've had before making this video. And then the fortress itself, instead of having extra plots that you can build like defenses on, this is where you get your basic military recruitment. 5 tiers where you can get a sword hall for swordsmen, a spear hall for your basic spearmen, or an archery hall for your basic archers. And this is just 1 unit per thing you can get. And then your builders can make a few different buildings. Let's just make one for a second and then talk about what it actually is in this one. So it's called a glade tree, which is probably the most unique resource building I've ever seen in any mod, where it acts as a place to build, doesn't actually generate resources itself, and instead builds a different resource building on top of it. For 300 you can get a woodworker's workshop to decrease the cost of buildings, which I build heavily in the beginning of my games I've tested with this mod. You can get heavy armor upgrades or light medium armor upgrades with the metalsmith's workshop or the tailor's workshop. But we're going to go to the woodworker's workshop to start with. You then can upgrade it twice by paying 300 for the first tier, and I believe it's 300 again for the second tier. But then there's another tree where you can build anywhere, because the first tree you can actually only build in a fortress's aura, as you can see from that again, or from a woodland garrison's aura, which is also not very big. So you are limited in a way. And yet, okay, tier 3 is 600. So in total it comes up to, what, 200, then 300, 500, so 1100. So if you were to build this one, the glade tree with 3 plots, you would actually be getting better economic value. But even better than that is the fact you can decrease the cost of buildings by 25% with the woodworkers' workshops. So it's actually better in the beginning to just get glade trees at tier 1 and then get them tier 3. Well, start off at tier 3 after you've got the discount, because there you get even more of an economic bonus without spending too much of your beginning economy. Let's try and build that again, because it does seem there's a few glitches where it can struggle to build if it's not fully in the aura. Let's just get all the heroes as well so I can show them off very, very quickly. I'm not going into too much detail. I just want to show off the key things about this version of the mod. Sorry, this version of Skirmish, where you've got the builders and these trees. Because I will be doing the games I'll be doing in the traditional Edain BFMU1 style, which is camps and castles. Which is a lot more different. It doesn't have these trees involved, which is why I'm showing off so much about these trees. But then, as I said, you can get woodland garrisons, which gives you your elite troops. Which I say elite troops, actually one unit, and then your heroic troop. You get a well, and a heroic statue in one called the Oracle Monument. You get Chambers of the Watch, which are wait, no, which... Am I getting these mixed up? No, the Woodland Garrison can hold any one of the 3 halls you've already seen, or a tower. Then there's the Chamber of the Watch, which gets you your elite troop, which is either I say it's because it's a mix of all types. It's a single entity that can transform into 3 different things, like with the Thrallmasters, like the what are they called? The captains of Rohan, and also technically the upgrade versions for the trolls and the trolls of Mordor and the Khazad-dûm veterans. A Chamber can't make these recruit faster, but yeah, it can turn into either a unit of riders, so cavalry, battering ram, or a supply car, which I've never seen before. Then there's the Mirkwood Palace Guard, which you can get a certain number of battalions when you have certain things unlocked. Also, you might notice very low command points. That's mainly because of the fact I need to get more resource building. So let me spam a few more of these cost reduction things here. Let's get the heavy armor one as well. You can see very quickly we get our extra command points just from having these extra buildings set up. So this guy, firstly, for some reason, gets a small leap ability. I'm not sure why, but I approve of it. Cool. It's just a leap from Gimli. But you can turn into cavalry, a battering ram, but this one I've never actually used. I've only used the others. The supply cart kind of sounds like the battle wagon in that it heals nearby units. So it acts as a mobile well, which is always a handy thing to have. Then you get a wall hub, which is, a wall hub. We all know what they do. The battle towers you can build anywhere. Then you've also got the Telion hub, which is kind of like a wall hub. But it seems to specifically be a set of towers linked together to add a more aesthetic feel to the faction. As I said before, you can get some basic warriors, some archers, and some spearmen. From these, you can get some upgrades if you upgrade the buildings manually by spending quite a bit of resources, or just waiting until it levels up on its own. And again, you can spend all those resources to get those upgrades. And again, still don't know why I can't get them. Is that because I need the I'm nearby walls?
We weave the finest cloth at our new tailors.
No, I'm not sure why it's not letting me do that. Oh no, I know why. Because I need something else. Surely. Yeah, it requires a brass armor enchanted blades upgrade. I'm forgetting it's a heroic troop. It's kind of like Edain in that state. I think you need the actual upgrades. Yeah, the Mirkwood Telion is a kind of like the walls that the Lothlorien bases get for Edain, where it's a platform which I don't think can be mounted, but instead just has walls that so I accidentally slapped my face. Walls that summon archers on them. So it's a nice aesthetic platform that actually has some defensive capabilities. You can see all those archers that are being spawned in every single plot, which makes them very cool. A bit busted if you don't have any siege, because those archers, I imagine, can do a lot of damage. Not able to do as much testing as I can in Edain with these things, but I'm just going off of what I've tested, which was not a lot. But again, yeah, this mod is a cool little thing. Which it will be coming out soon, from what I've been told. And I will be doing some games with this Mirkwood faction in the free build system. And I'll also be doing one game with the Dwarves. Don't ask me why, I don't know. I was just told, try Mirkwood and try the Dwarves. And I was like, yeah, works for me. Anyway, that is everyone to show for today. I'll be going into more of this faction in the next few videos. This mod in the next few videos. So if anyone wants to have a look at this mod, have a look at it. It looks really cool. I think it's a nice little mod that keeps a lot of the old features of vanilla, but actually just again it's just a nice little polish up. Makes things look really nice and has some cool mechanics hidden in its bows. Get it? Tree pun. Okay, I'm done. I'm sweating. It's a very warm summer day here in the UK, and it's a day right before I turn 26. Although by the time you're watching this video, I will already have turned 26. I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are excited for me play not only Unchained, but this mod as well. And I will see you all in the next one. Farewell.